The right corner here is red, but still there's a car parking there. Looks like they're dropping off their kids and they're ignoring the red no parking. That puts other people's children in danger. So please don't be that person that parks in the red just because you're in a hurry. Hey everybody, it's Jacqueline, and I'm going to be your driving teacher today. Today we're going to be focusing on where we can park and where we can't. And we're going to be looking for colors. If we see the color red, we know that means danger and do not park. And the reason it means do not park is that if a car was parked in that spot where it's red, it would be hazardous for other folks. It might limit visibility for pedestrians. It might make it hard for cars to turn properly. And it's something that you shouldn't do because you can get a ticket. We're going to be looking for yellow, which means you can be there cautiously while you're loading or unloading or running into a store quickly, but be careful because you don't want to stay long. Often there are time limits associated with a yellow loading and unloading zone. So an important thing about parking is understanding the colors and what it means. Understanding that there could be time limits associated with certain parking standards, and then making sure that wherever you park, it is legal because you don't want to get a parking ticket. So here we go. We're going to head out and look at all different kinds of parking situations and figure out how we can always park safely without getting a ticket or being hazardous to others. All along this row, we can see that the curb is a regular colored curb, kind of that gray color, and there is 2-hour maximum parking. That is the time limit. We also just saw a blue striped parking space, and that means handicapped parking only. You should never park in a blue designated zone unless you are with someone that requires special assistance and you have a handicapped placard, or you yourself have a handicapped placard. You can never pull up into a blue zone just to drop somebody off or just to do something really quickly. It is against the law and it would interfere with other people who need those close spots more than you do. And over here on the right, we see green stripe, and that means limited parking. In this case, it's for 10 minutes. Green stripes in my community are usually designated for 10-minute parking or 20-minute parking. So be sure that you know the difference and that you're in the right spot for the right amount of time. Whenever we see red on the curb, that means do not park here because that would be dangerous. For example, up ahead on the right, we see a red curb near a fire hydrant. If we parked in front of the fire hydrant and there was an emergency, the fire truck would not be able to park there. So we would not park there. We also notice on the right-hand side a white zone that has a specific sign, no parking, passenger loading zone. So that means you can pull over to let somebody out of the car or get somebody in the car, but you would not stay there parked. On the right, we have more designated parking, diagonal parking with signs that say 2-hour parking only. So if you were going to park in one of those spots, you would be sure to pay the meter, and you would maybe set a timer on your phone to make sure you come back in 2 hours to avoid getting a ticket. On the right hand of the side of the street, we have a van that has its hazard lights on, and it is parked. It was parked in the middle of a lane, and that is against the law. Be sure not to let the bad habits that you see in the community influence you. Don't pick up any bad habits. You are not allowed to park in the road, even if you put on your hazard lights. you could get a ticket, and of course, you're blocking the normal flow of traffic. Another thing to think about are no parking zones for designated days. And as you're driving around in a community looking for parking, if you see a no parking sign, you want to make sure that you read and do the math. If it says no parking 12:30 to 2:30 on the first Monday of the month, you need to check your calendar and make sure that's not the day that you're arriving. Let's practice parking up ahead. I see that it's a 2-hour zone, and I also see the parking meter where I would pay my money. I go all the way up to the red curb. I know I'm not going to park in the red area because that would make it difficult for people to turn into their driveway, and it would also make it difficult for people to exit their driveway. If I was really parking, I would get out and I would pay the meter and I would put the little ticket in the front of my windshield. But since I'm not, I'm just going to head on back into the road. And then of course, we remember that usually close to a curb, there's no parking because we don't want to block visibility for cars turning or pedestrians crossing. So usually leading right up to the corner where the stop sign is, it's red. The right corner here is red, but still there's a car parking there. Looks like they're dropping off their kids and they're ignoring the red no parking. That puts other people's children in danger. So please don't be that person that parks in the red just because you're in a hurry. We want to choose practices that help keep the entire community safe, not just one person. On the left-hand side, we notice that there are orange cones with parking restrictions because of construction. I'm going to park on the left-hand side here, but to do that, I'm going to make a 3-point turn. I pull into the driveway. I reverse cautiously, looking behind the van, and then I pull into my parking spot with a regular gray color, making sure I park between the red boundary so as not to disturb the visibility for other cars. And I hope that you feel more comfortable thinking about where can you park. You can park in gray neutral areas. You can park in yellow areas at the end of the day after commercial zones, usually after 6. You can park in green zones, but be careful of the time limit. And wherever you park, make sure you read the signs and make sure there aren't any restrictions, because you don't want to get a parking ticket. You'd rather spend that money on having a nice lunch with a friend or family member. Take care, keep learning, and I'll see you next time. Bye.